Advertising is a pervasive force in modern society, shaping the way we perceive products, services, and even ourselves. Understanding the psychology of advertising is essential to grasp how marketers influence consumer behavior and decision-making processes. At its core, advertising aims to persuade potential customers to take a desired action, whether it's purchasing a product, adopting a service, or embracing an idea. This persuasion is not random. It is meticulously crafted using psychological principles that tap into the subconscious mind, emotions, and social dynamics of consumers. By exploring these psychological tactics, we can become more informed consumers and appreciate the intricate strategies behind the ads we encounter daily. One fundamental aspect of advertising psychology is the understanding of consumer behavior. Marketers invest significant resources into researching how consumers think, feel, and act. This involves analyzing demographics, psychographics, and behavioral patterns to tailor messages that resonate with specific target audiences. By segmenting the market, advertisers can create personalized campaigns that appeal to the unique needs, desires, and pain points of different consumer groups. This personalization increases the likelihood of capturing attention and motivating action. Attention is the first hurdle that any advertisement must overcome. In a world saturated with information and competing messages, grabbing and maintaining consumer attention is challenging. Advertisers employ various psychological techniques to stand out, such as using vivid colors, striking visuals, or surprising elements that disrupt expectations. The use of novelty and contrast can trigger the brain's orienting response, making us more likely to notice and process the ad. Additionally, repetition is a common strategy to enhance recall. By repeatedly exposing consumers to a message, advertisers strengthen neural connections associated with the brand, making it more memorable. Emotion plays a pivotal role in advertising effectiveness. Emotional appeals can create strong connections between the consumer and the brand, influencing attitudes and behaviors. Advertisers often evoke emotions like happiness, fear, nostalgia, or empathy to create a lasting impact. For example, a commercial showcasing a heartwarming family reunion taps into feelings of love and belonging, which can be associated with the product being advertised. Emotional advertising leverages the fact that people are more likely to remember and act on messages that elicit strong feelings. The use of storytelling in ads capitalizes on this by engaging consumers in a narrative that resonates on a personal level. Persuasion techniques rooted in psychology are integral to advertising strategies. One such technique is the principle of social proof, which suggests that people tend to follow the actions of others, especially in situations of uncertainty. Advertisements that display customer testimonials, user reviews, or endorsements by celebrities leverage social proof to build credibility and trust. When we see others approving of a product, we are more inclined to believe it is worthwhile. Similarly, the scarcity principle posits that perceived rarity increases desirability. Limited time offers, exclusive deals, or showcasing low stock levels create a sense of urgency, prompting consumers to act quickly to avoid missing out. The authority principle is another persuasive tactic, where endorsements by experts or institutions lend legitimacy to a product. Advertisements featuring doctors recommending a health supplement or professionals endorsing a service utilize this principle to convince consumers of the product's value. The reciprocity principle suggests that people feel obligated to return favors. Free samples, gifts with purchase, or complimentary services can trigger this feeling of indebtedness, increasing the likelihood of a purchase. Consistency and commitment also influence consumer behavior. Once individuals commit to something publicly or in writing, they are more likely to follow through to remain consistent with their self-image. Advertisers might encourage small initial actions, like signing up for a newsletter, which can lead to larger commitments over time. The use of colors, imagery, and music in advertising taps into sensory psychology. Colors can evoke specific emotions and associations. For instance, blue often conveys trust and calmness, while red can signify excitement or urgency. Advertisers carefully select color schemes to align with the brand's message and desired consumer response. Imagery is used to create associations and convey messages quickly. Visual metaphors, symbolism, and attractive models can influence perceptions and attitudes toward a product, Music sets the tone and mood of an advertisement, enhancing emotional engagement and memorability. A catchy jingle or background score can linger in the consumer's mind long after the ad has ended, reinforcing brand recognition. Cognitive biases are mental shortcuts that influence how we perceive and process information. Advertisers exploit these biases to shape consumer decisions. The anchoring effect, for example, involves presenting an initial piece of information as a reference point, which can influence subsequent judgments. A product initially shown at a high price, followed by a discounted offer, makes the deal seem more attractive due to the anchored expectation. The framing effect demonstrates how the presentation of information affects perception. Advertisements highlighting positive outcomes, like 90% fat-free, are more appealing than those stating 10% fat, even though the meaning is the same. Understanding these biases allows advertisers to craft messages that align with the way our brains naturally interpret information. Subliminal messaging, although controversial, is another technique associated with advertising psychology. It involves embedding subtle cues or messages within an advertisement that can influence the subconscious mind. While the effectiveness of subliminal advertising is debated, the idea is that these hidden messages can prime consumers to feel or act in a certain way without conscious awareness. Ethical considerations arise with such practices, as they can manipulate consumers without their informed consent. The impact of advertising on consumer choices is significant. Repeated exposure to advertisements can shape preferences, create perceived needs, and even alter cultural norms. Branding plays a crucial role in this process. By establishing a strong brand identity and associating it with specific values or lifestyles, advertisers can influence how consumers perceive their products relative to competitors. For instance, luxury brands often advertise exclusivity and prestige, appealing to consumers' desires for status and self-expression. Social media and digital advertising have transformed the landscape, introducing new psychological tactics. Personalized ads based on user data allow for highly targeted campaigns that reflect individual interests and behaviors. The use of algorithms to predict consumer preferences enables advertisers to present relevant content, increasing engagement and conversion rates. However, this raises concerns about privacy and the ethical use of personal information. Influencer marketing leverages the trust and authenticity associated with social media personalities. By partnering with influencers, brands tap into established audiences and the psychological appeal of parasocial relationships. One-sided connections where consumers feel personally connected to the influencer. This strategy combines social proof with relatability, making advertising messages more persuasive. Ethical considerations in advertising are paramount, given the potential for manipulation and the influence on vulnerable populations. Regulations and industry standards aim to prevent deceptive practices, false claims, and the exploitation of certain groups, such as children. Advertisers are encouraged to promote transparency, honesty, and social responsibility. This includes accurately representing products, disclosing sponsored content, and avoiding harmful stereotypes or discriminatory messages. The psychology of advertising must balance persuasive effectiveness with ethical integrity to maintain consumer trust and societal well-being. The future of advertising psychology is shaped by technological advancements and evolving consumer attitudes. Artificial intelligence and machine learning enable more sophisticated analysis of consumer behavior, allowing for dynamic and interactive advertising experiences. Virtual reality and augmented reality open new avenues for immersive brand engagement, appealing to sensory and experiential aspects of psychology. Consumers are also becoming more discerning and skeptical of traditional advertising methods. This shift encourages brands to focus on authenticity, storytelling, and building genuine relationships with consumers. Purpose-driven advertising, where brands align with social causes or values, resonates with consumers seeking meaningful connections. Understanding the psychology behind these trends is essential for advertisers to remain relevant and effective. In conclusion, the psychology of advertising is a complex interplay of cognitive and emotional and social factors that influence consumer behavior. By leveraging psychological principles, advertisers craft messages that capture attention, evoke emotions, and persuade action. From the use of colors and music to the application of cognitive biases and persuasion techniques, Every element of an advertisement is designed with intent. As consumers, being aware of these strategies empowers us to make more informed decisions and recognize the subtle influences on our perceptions and choices. As the advertising landscape continues to evolve, the integration of psychology remains at its core, driving innovation and shaping the relationship between brands and consumers. Understanding this dynamic not only enriches our appreciation of advertising as a discipline, but also highlights the importance of ethical considerations in influencing society responsibly.